Caribbean chicken soup. This soup is delicious, hearty, and absolutely banging. It's going to change your life, and it takes a while to make because of all the components, but it actually is very simple as you're just chucking a bunch of stuff in a pot. So first of all, I am going to start by chopping my yams. I chop them into square blocks, which is how we're going to chop a lot of our vegetables and ingredients that we're going to use in this recipe. So when I chop my yams and some of the following vegetables, I just leave them sit in water. This is mainly because yams oxidize very quickly, and I just put the rest of the vegetables in there as well because why not? So now I've got this corn on the cob. I'm chopping it into small pieces. And then I've got about a medium-sized sweet potato. And again, I'm just chopping this into small blocks. Next up, we've got some carrots. So I'm only including 1 carrot in this recipe. This is a serving size for about 4 people. And again, letting it sit in water whilst we prepare the rest of the dish. Then I've actually got some butternut squash. Alternatively, you could use some pumpkin, whatever you can find in a supermarket. So I'm just going to peel this, and it's quite a lot, so I'm just using about half of this. And again, I'm just going to remove all of the seeds and then chop it into small blocks. The butternut squash, or the pumpkin if you can find it, is good as it adds some colour to our soup. So actually, this goes into the soup earlier on, so you'll see that I don't leave it to sit in water. I just leave it on the chopping board because it's one of the earliest ingredients in the soup. Once I'm done slicing up my butternut squash, I'm just going to take a spring onion stalk and I'm just going to chop this. I chop it diagonally because I think it looks cool, but chop it however you want. And then we're going to start seasoning our chicken. So I've got about 500 grams of de-skinned chicken thigh pieces. You don't want the skin on because it adds too much fat to the soup, and that really isn't nice. So I've added a bunch of seasonings such as salt, garlic granules, all-purpose, pimento, which is always very important. And I'm just getting some gloves and I'm massaging this all in. I also added a bit of oil just to make it a bit easier to massage in. I'm filling my pot halfway with water. To be honest, I probably overfilled it a little bit here, so later in the process I actually do end up removing a bit of water because the soup was just too watery for my liking. So you should probably do about half of a pot, and then I'm going to add in the chicken, the butternut squash, the spring onions, a handful of fresh thyme sprigs as well. And then I'm just going to let this bubble up and cook down for about 15 minutes. Chicken cooks really quickly, so by then, to be honest, your chicken is already cooked. Then I add in all of the rest of my vegetables that have been sitting in water. Mix it all together a little bit and then pop a Scotch bonnet on top. And again, you're just going to let this cook for about 10 to 15 minutes. Now I'm creating my dumplings. So you want to add about a cup of flour, a little bit of salt, a little bit of cornstarch, and a little bit of brown sugar. And then you want to add about half a cup of water. But really, when it comes to dumplings, you just need to keep playing with the flour and the water until you get the sort of doughy consistency that you like. So half a cup of water to 1 cup of flour is just a rough benchmark, but I was sat here for a little while just playing with it until I got the consistency that you see here. Then you want to just start to roll your dumplings into whatever shape you want. You can have the spinners like I've created here, or you can have some round dumplings. I included a bit of a mix of both. I think round dumplings are my favourite, but you know, they actually taste the same, obviously. Then I've just got some chicken soup seasoning from the shop, and I'm adding this into my soup. And then I'm also adding in my dumplings. You add them in last because they really don't take very long to cook. And again, I'm mixing this all together. At this point, you can also add some salt to taste. You can add some all-purpose to taste. You can add a chicken stock cube. as well to add a bit of saltiness to it. And then finally, just want to let it cook and bubble down for a final 15 to 20 minutes. You want to let it cook on about a low to medium temperature, and honestly just keep cooking it until you see that it has a bit of thickness in it. You'll see that my soup has actually decreased. This is because of, one, I removed a bit of the extra water, and two, because my boyfriend was very hungry, so he actually served himself up a little early, but I kept cooking for a little bit longer just to get the soup a bit thicker. And then here it is. I really, really, really love this soup. If you like this recipe, please remember to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.